this is about Gen Z taking over the workplace.
This is quite the milestone, and it was inevitable it was going to happen. And this is the year that it does. In the U.S. workforce, Gen Z, people in their early 20s, will now be more populous than baby boomers, people in their 60s and beyond. And that's an interesting kind of thing just from a generational point of view. But bosses and managers are not thrilled about this, and there's a good reason for it. Surveys show that Gen Z is by far the most difficult generation to work with in the eyes of managers and colleagues. But the Wall Street Journal is reporting that managers are increasingly trying to be proactive in basically showing their younger subordinates the ropes. What they're doing is they're teaching these young whippersnappers how to communicate, that is, without emojis. They're also teaching them how to keep their thoughts to themselves, which for the sharing generation might be a little bit of a challenge. And perhaps most importantly, they're stepping up mentorship programs. And that's very important because you want to have others who can come along and show the younger ones how to, get by in the workplace. And mentorship is very good for that. Gen Z is perhaps the most self-entitled generation to come along so far. This is the generation that has been weaned on participation trophies, and they don't always play well with others. So you can see why there's a little bit of anxiety among managers to make sure that these folks who might have been hired during the pandemic and might have just come out of a remote situation and then jumped into the workplace, how they might have to be shown the way forward. And on the one hand, obviously that's good. On the other hand, well, this is something that kind of undermines the whole idea of paying your dues, which means you find your way in the world. That's a part of the process. There was an interesting business conference recently in which a workplace expert said younger workers are really eager to find meaning and fulfillment in the workplace. And others at the conference instantly stood up and said, why is that a company's job? Since when did that become a business thing? That's a very good point.
I think I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I know you have your opinions about some of them, but ordinary misery is something that is a struggle for younger generations to accept.
What does that mean?
The ordinary misery of daily responsibilities. And part of that is now falling apparently on the workforce to make up for the unhappiness in being an adult. Right? Isn't that kind of what you're saying?
But I would argue that those responsibilities are what shape you as an adult and a positive member of society.
But if they're
why does that have to be
ways
misery?
That's exactly it, though. They're finding it. They're looking at it through the lens of this is miserable. I have to get up and do this thing. Instead of
the grind,
I have the privilege,
right?
the grind. Yes, instead of the privilege of I have a job.
Yes.
I have the ladder to move up. I have something to learn.
And that's why I say this is the generation that was weaned on participation trophies. They just don't know how to achieve and build on your achievements and better yourself. And this is the crowd that looks to others to better themselves.
All too soon, they're going to be management.
Who's going to run the social media accounts? There's no stigma to dining alone. Right?
Well, apparently so. And in any case, what we do know for a fact is that more and more people are doing it. There's new data out from the booking platform OpenTable, which finds that, in fact, Party of One is becoming very much a going concern. According to the data, the percentage of diners who are going on the Party of One route rose by 8% in the 12 months ended May 31st compared to a year earlier. And a survey commissioned by OpenTable finds that nearly 2/3 of respondents said they dined alone at some point over the past year. Some dine alone because it's more convenient. You don't have to cook, so obviously that's a thing. Others feel that it's a great way to try to check out new restaurants that you might want to go to with friends, and that also makes sense, especially in the age of food blogs and whatnot. Younger people especially, when they're not making other people miserable in the workplace, are especially prone to be comfortable these days dining alone. And it's not just the US. According to OpenTable, solo dining is up 18% this year in Germany. It's up 14% in Britain. It's now so common in Japan, there's a word for it, ohitori-sama, which translates roughly as going it alone, but honorably so. And so I appreciate that as well. In response, restaurants are now scrambling to rearrange so that they can accommodate more solo diners, and they're not planning on big, large parties, and that makes a lot of sense as well. And while there seems to be a rationale for this, I wonder if there's a connection to a recent New York Times report that talked about an epidemic of loneliness taking over America since the pandemic, and whether the whole dining alone thing might be a factor there. But I don't mind saying, I love dining alone. You sit at the table, you have a book next to you. Those are two things that are stimulating and pleasant. So I've enjoyed that for a long
But
time.
then you can't reach across and try your partner's food.
Well, there's that.
It's just what you get.
You can ask the waiter to turn the pages for you if you need some interaction.
Sandra, you were saying that in Paris, maybe it's a little more common in Europe. You see people sitting alone.
I think people there enjoy being alone. I mean,
agree.
you see people sitting in the park reading alone. You see people strolling alone.
I think it's more
Maybe
common
it's a
in Europe.
European thing.
I think so, to some extent. I think also there is a factor that Americans just simply became more isolated in recent years, and
True.
dining alone is sort of an accommodation of the fact that you want to get out. You got a lot of pent-up desire to get outside and socialize. At the same time, you don't want to do that. You want to just sit and enjoy the good food.